Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wellness Wednesdays with Stephanie. I am Stephanie Buckland, your host, and I am super excited to be interviewing another psychic across the planet today, Stephen Rose. Stephen, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you're very welcome. Hi, nice to be here.
Hi. Yeah, this is going to be super fun. Two psychics get in a room together. What happens, right? I think Spirit's going to be with us and probably channeling with us, right? Oh,
Definitely.
this is so cool. I would love for you to introduce yourself to our community. Just let them know who you are, what you're up to in the world, and what kind of magic shows up as a result.
Okay. So I'm a clairvoyant medium and healer. I'm a spiritual healer and a Reiki Master. I have been for 20 years. Healing since childhood. My mum was a healer too. Um, but yeah, I work with all sorts of clients all around the world and in person. And this is just something that I've been doing for a very long time. I'm very passionate about it. It's in the family. My twin brother did readings when he was a teenager, and he sort of gave that up. But we both had that psychic link. We both had a much an interest in this because this is what my mum was into: clairvoyance, mediumship, and healing. So just so many different aspects to it that I employ into what I do. But I teach, I run circles, I run workshops around healing. But I think the most important thing is trying to help people to become in contact with their spiritual sides, helping them to go on introspective journeys and just stilling their mind, bringing things to a sort of being in the moment, not worrying about yesterday, not worrying about tomorrow, and
Mhm.
bringing them up to that sense of peace and calm. Then they sort of get an idea of who they are, and then that's when the magic starts happening. Because once you have that stillness and your monkey minds calm down a bit, then they're just the things that they pick up. And that's how you run the workshops. It's all about getting them to calm, to relax, and then
Yeah,
their gifts start heightening, and they take that with them into whatever it is they're doing.
beautiful. I love the work you're doing. So I'm curious. I mean, it sounds like you were just born with this. It just kind of came to you innately as a human being with your mom. You also mentioned before we came online, your nan and your great nan,
Yeah.
all of them did some kind of healing. So it just kind
Yeah.
of happened organically, yeah?
I think it becomes. I think the most important thing, really, from that perspective, is it's seen as normal. It's seen as just you just do that. So you just do it without realizing it's not normal. Well, for a lot of people, it's unusual. But I
Sure.
think everyone has that ability. Everyone has a psychic skill set. A lot of the time I spend with readings where I'm picking up on, I tune in, I can pick up on where people are using their own psychic skill set. So clairvoyancy, clear sight, clairaudience, clear hearing, clear sensitivity, or clairsentience. That's the big one. Everyone picks up on other people, but don't realize it's an actual thing. So people are going through, they're jumping through hoops in their head to not feel what they feel, or beating themselves up because they're getting upset by somebody else's drama, because they're pulling on that energy, or that they're pulling on their energy, and it's a real
Yeah.
thing. So being able to pick up on that within a reading and then help them get a handle on it is getting them to start working with their skill set that they're already working with. So one of the big things that I really enjoy doing is people will think they're not psychic, or they've got no talent, or they've got no ability when they're already working with it. They just don't realize. And it's very easy to talk yourself out of believing that anything's happened. I mean,
Sure.
particularly with mediumship, where people have lost someone, and quite often the person that you've lost will step in, will step close. And then what will happen is, because you're grieving, you will get upset because you will feel them step in. They'll reconnect to the chakras, and you will literally feel them around you, and they'll be all you can think about. It's because they're stepping close. But what they're
Mhm.
trying to do is to connect and let you know. And it's very easy at that moment to discount what you're getting, because of emotion, but also you just think, well, it's wishful thinking. I did that. My dad died when I was 21, and when he stepped in, I got all this information. I got the feeling of what he passed having a bypass, and I got a feeling of um, just not painful, but just a sort of a bit sore here in my chest and in my arm, in my legs where they'd taken veins, and
Hmm.
also which threw me because I didn't know why in my arm. But that's of course I had a cannula in there, but I didn't
Oh,
realize that. But because so, but even getting all of that and being as into this as the family is, I still my logical mind thought, am I kidding myself? Is this real? It was my father stepping in, and I so clients, when I'm with clients, spirit will tell me those moments. They will try and they will spirit, because I work with clairsentience, I feel what the spirit feel, and they try and work
mhm.
with clairaudience as well. But it's very helpful for a spirit to show me what they got there relative to feel, because I can describe that to them, because they'll do it to me, give me that feeling, and I'll say, "This is what you felt," and then they'll do it, and also they'll try and step in and do it again as I'm saying it to them, and so it gives them that sense of, "Oh, I can do this.
Mm,
I have got a connection," because that's the most important thing. It's not about, I mean, delivering a message with lots of hits is so important, but the most important thing really is them walking away with this is real. He's still around, and he's already connected to me like this, and he's going to do it again. So quite
yeah.
often, so with the mediumship, they're always saying that they've stepped into dreams because that's the easiest thing for them to do, or
Hmm.
they're trying to talk to them, but it everyone's different. The sitter can be, they've got a natural predisposition towards clairaudience, and their parent or contact is from spirit is trying to speak to them. So I will encourage them to speak to the person they miss, and then listen out for those messages that come back. So it's not hearing it out loud, as you know, it's clairaudience. So it's like remembering them speak, but something's coming out of left
Yes.
field, and
Right.
and it comes back to you, and it's very natural, and it's extremely comforting when they do it, as and they want to do it, and I think that's the from my perspective, it's very natural, and it's part of the healing process. Your parent, they can't, they all they want to do is step in and connect with you and let you know that I'm here, I'm all right, and
Yeah,
that's what they're trying to do. So yeah, to be able to do
most
that
definitely.
is yeah, it's that's the part of the healing. As I was saying to you off air before, so originally I just wanted to be a healer. I'm a clairvoyant medium and a healer, but to start with, I just wanted to heal. The mediumship sounded a bit intimidating, or a lot of pressure to get it right. And then I
Right.
was sort of, and then I was, but then I was sort of pushed into it. Gave a reading that was very helpful to a lady that lost her son, and suddenly I was like, oh, that's healing, isn't it? So
Mm,
that's so I am supposed to be doing this. Um, and I learned to along the way I learned to read the chakras. I was reading the chakras from childhood, but not knowing what
mm.
they were. My mum didn't know what they were. I discovered this is 35 years ago. I found a book in back when I was about 20, and it was on the chakras. And I went, this right, okay, this is like a roadmap.
Ha,
This is because I was my way in was like, because I was thinking scientifically. I thought, okay, this is the roadmap of what's happening. So this is what I'm working with, and that's how I tune in. So I work with the chakras are like pools of information, and I just step in. So what's at the top is what's going on right now. So who you're worrying
mhm.
about, what's money, whatever it is, I'll be taken straight to it. And then deeper down in each chakra, I'll be pulled to whatever's relevant, and they can be grouped together, but I will feel my way in, or I'll be given clairaudience or clairvoyance. But it's a good way of working. I like working that way, and I'd forgotten because I developed this way, and then I because it was the easiest way for me to develop. or the most clear and comprehensive, I thought. And then I went back, and then Edgar Cayce did that. That's how he in his when he was obviously he was in trance when he was doing it.
Right. Yeah.
Um, but I was so lucky. I've had so many really good teachers. My first circle I sat on was a lady called Teresa Doherty. And she did every reading and every circle in trance as a Tibetan guide.
Mm.
So, and I was young, so I didn't know that was unusual. I just thought, oh, okay, this is what it's like then. I didn't
Right.
know that was, I didn't know that was good. But she was amazing, and she's passed now. But she was just, and I used to sit on her circle, and I didn't real because I found it easy to open up. I didn't realize that was unusual. So I'd just open up, go, oh, okay, right, I can do this. And then I wouldn't go for a few weeks and I'd come back. So I'm very open. I'm very lenient on people that don't always come every week to my circles because I did that.
Yeah.
I I couldn't possibly be uh, sort of, military about it. Because
Right.
I mean, it's nice to be able to. It's nice to be able to sort of week in week out do stuff. But I had that experience. So yeah, I wasn't quite that disciplined when I was young. I was fine, but I've had some amazing teachers. I had a guy that was a sound healer, and he was when I met him, I was 25. He was 87, big guy, and he could do overtoning. So that's like singing with two different voices at the same time. Makes a
Oh,
There's a
interesting.
Mongolian overtoning. But he could do this, and he learned to do it. He was a pilot. He'd been a pilot in the war, in Second World War, and to help him with his sort of post traumatic stress from the war, he learned yoga, and then he got into this, and he was just amazing. I've got albums of his that he produced in his late 80s, but to have that teacher to work with sound as another aspect to my experience was fascinating. So just another layer of
Mm.
complexity given to me by just a very sweet, wonderfully kind, but amazingly intelligent light worker. That
Yeah,
yeah
that's fantastic. I love this. I love that you've had so many beautiful experiences that have guided you through your life. I think
yeah
that's a beautiful way to really step into who you're going to become. I had a more bumpy experience in my life
yeah
that I didn't have permission. I didn't have a whole lot of support for my abilities. My mother was psychic. She is psychic. She
right
doesn't use her abilities, but she told
right
me a story about when she was a young child. She was 7 years old. Her and her brothers were in a swimming pool, and she got this huge nudge to tell all of her siblings to get out of the pool. And they
right
believed her. They all got out of the pool. Her one brother still had a foot in the pool, and an electric current hit the water. It would have killed them all. She saved
wow
all of their lives. So she told me this story when I was a child. I think I was like 8 or 9 years old when I heard the story, and we had a ghost in our house. She told us, no, this is a friendly ghost. I didn't
right
really communicate with the ghost, but I sensed it. So I
yeah
knew that there was spirit beyond what I could see, and I knew that there was ability beyond what most normal people could experience.
yeah
But then my life really shoved me into a box and didn't give me permission to fully step
yeah
into my abilities. So I love the fact that you've been able to do this for your whole life. I think that's
oh
fantastic.
yeah
Um,
my, My mum was when I started. So when I started developing, I had an experience when I was 20. I went on holiday with a friend, and long story short, I just opened up with this group of friends that we'd met while we were there, and I was just so I just had claircognizance. So claircognizance, you're arriving at the fully formed conclusion without the information to get there. So and also I
right.
was confident about the information I had. I wasn't unsure. And when you're at a certain level, you know it's right. So I was giving all this
Yeah.
information. So they just knew me as the psychic, but it's the first time it ever really happened as an adult. I was 20. So when I came back from that holiday, I was like, right, this is real. So it must be written about. And if it isn't, then I need to write about it. And so I just started studying. So I was looking for books. Like I read hundreds of books, all sorts of books, and there's so many. But it just
There
they
really
sort of these
is.
books come up and then they disappear again. Um, but yeah, so that was my experience, and I was fascinated, but I didn't think I was going to be doing it as a job. It was just like a hobby. It was a passion. And then
Yeah.
gradually, spirit don't sort of just kept bringing me back to point. The healing I was always doing, animals,
Yeah.
people, it just seemed a natural thing to do. But it seemed more of a physical, I like going from massage to hot hands. My eldest two kids, they're 25 and 20, well, coming out for 26 and 23 this week, actually. I saw Jake today. But anyway, they had childhood asthma and I was healing them. This is before I did Reiki. I was healing them regularly to get rid of their childhood asthma. Anyway, they grew out of it, which does happen, but I
Sure.
did they haven't got they haven't got asthma anymore. But I used to regularly work on them. And so it was sort of massaging and all the things you do to clear lungs. So I was physically
Hmm.
working with them, but I was there's a healer that I was aware of, Harry Edwards. That's what he used to do, physically manipulate to clear things. So I was doing that, and then when I
Yeah.
became a Reiki master, then I was working more with pure energy and less. Although I do incorporate that into my healing, because sometimes you have to um, move people around, basically. Literally, I
Hmm.
mean, literally move them around. But
Definitely, definitely. Energy gets stuck, right? So I think
yeah,
that's part of the manipulation part of it. I learned this cool practice from my Reiki teacher that she visualizes a like a grate over the area where the pain or the problem is, and then you just clear from that area
oh, that's
whatever
interesting.
that is. And so yeah, a little bit of touching and a little bit of like just visualizing that space of the body and watching the energy clear away, which was very interesting. That's a practice I still use today. I don't
That's
get to do
interesting.
Reiki as often, but
Say that again.
I don't get to do
Say that again.
Reiki as often. Yeah,
No, well,
I've been doing a lot of mediumship and a lot of Akashic readings and haven't really been doing a whole lot of like energy healing, except for my own,
right.
working on myself and monthly with the full moon. Yeah. Um,
I'd like. Sorry, go on. You can say. Sorry.
well, I was gonna ask about your twin. So you had still, right? He's still with us.
Yeah.
Your identical twin.
Yes.
So
Well,
you
yeah.
mentioned before we started
I think
recording
there's.
that you had a really deep
So he's not
connection with him.
doing this work sort of work anymore, but I can tell you a very interesting story about a spirit when we were kids. Sorry, you okay?
Oh, hang on. You're frozen. There we go. I think you're back. Come on, technology, work for us.
Hello.
Oh, again.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Does your brother not want us to talk about him?
Maybe. Well, I'll just tell you the one story that I was going to tell you
Okay.
because so we lived in a very old converted barn. It was like 500 years old, and we moved into that barn when me and Chris were five, and we were aware. We used to go to sleep, and I was aware of the ghost of an old sort of night watchman or security guy
Hmm.
that walk around the perimeter of the house or the barn, turn, look in, and then when he did that, and I was aware of every night, I would hold my breath, like that was going to help. But I used to hold my breath, and then he would then just like he'd sort of everything's fine, and then he'd turn and keep on walking, and he'd do that every night. So that was what we did. That's what I did every night, and but sort of it became. You got used to it. I was sort of used to it, but then it didn't matter. He was still there, but I was less because he was just looking after the building or us or whatever. And then,
Sure.
so we were about 3 years living there. Chris and I were camping outside where he was going to be, and we'd never spoken about this. Bear in mind, I was aware of this psychically or whatever. This was the experience I was having, but we hadn't spoken about it. We were just going to sleep and not saying anything. But in that tent, we
Yeah.
both said, "Oh, that ghost is going to be walking past." And we were both aware of it, and it's the first time we spoke about it. So from our perspective, from my perspective, immediately having your experience corroborated by somebody that was there with you having the same experience because he's similar, gift, etc.
Sure.
And that was very powerful. And it's only looking back you realize how special that is, that immediately got someone say, "Oh yeah," and then that night we were thought, is he going to look in the tent? And he didn't. He continued because he's sort of locked into a loop or whatever of repeating his
Hmm.
behavior. So he just
Hmm.
walked past the tent. And when I became aware of him, he'd already gone past us, and then he was where our room would was and looking in, and then he carried on. So that wasn't that interesting. But yeah, to have
Nice.
that
Yeah.
experience. And I just remember at the time thinking, it's just, I was having that experience, and it's like, is it imagination? I don't, even at 8, but then to say it out loud and then to have it straight back at you, yes, that's real. So
Yeah.
that's, being a twin in
Confirmation.
those circumstances. Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so yeah, while we were at that house, I just say we had a great day, and my mum healed him. He got run over. He's a massive dog, 13 stone dog, so like very
Oh,
big. And he
yeah.
got run over. And my mum, he broke his neck, clipped the jugular vein, and he was sort of hanging on. And my mum stayed up all night, and we were there as well, helping heal, but being told off, not to, don't touch him, but do healing.
Yeah.
And he survived, and he recovered, and he was fine.
Wow.
And I used so when I was little, I used to think, oh well, that's because he was such a big dog. But then as I got older, I thought it's probably my mum's healing that that did it. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
just, and that was part of my experience. Her, healing animals, healing people, healing my dad all the time when he had toothache. Um,
Sure. Sure. Yep.
so
Wow. So growing up with a healer was probably like an initiation almost, like
yeah,
it
and
gave you
she,
permission and allowed you to really be the open person that you are, Stephen. I think that was,
yeah, I
kind of
think,
part of your development.
yes, and but very encouraging, and also just telling me that this is what I was. I mean, I felt like it was something I wanted to do, but she's saying, "Oh, you're a good healer." So she gave me that little bit of encouragement.
Yeah.
But now what I've sort of, as I've honored that healing part. When I do mediumship demonstrations to an audience, I've honored the healing part because I felt like that I've developed my own way. I must do that. I have a big room full of people, and then I will choose somebody. I choose several people, and I get them out, and I will heal them, and I also read for them at the same time.
Hmm.
So I'll do it that way. But because I'm healing them, I can read their chakras really quick, and then whilst I'm healing them, the same way as I used to do when I first started healing, if somebody wants to step in and offer, it's like, I'm her dad or I'm her mom, and they step in and they'll give messages that way. And also that
Hmm.
the collective energy of the audience enables a bit of physical mediumship to take place. So we've had it's happened a few times where people have had the experience of somebody, of their relative giving them a kiss on the head or giving them a kiss on the cheek, feeling it during the
Yeah.
demonstration. And they don't, obviously they don't, people, because I forget now, I got over my nerves and I'm talking to the audience, but then they'll come and say to me afterwards, I think I felt my dad kiss me.
Oh,
And
yeah,
that,
that's sweet.
which is so, yeah, it's so lovely. But yeah, so that's I think that that's just part of the magic of things that can happen. Also,
Yeah,
I think you're a healer, so you know this. When you're working with somebody's energy field, what you're doing is you're balancing them. So what that's going
right.
to do is they're not worrying about tomorrow or yesterday. They're just in the moment, and then things clear. And they can have, so it's an energetic release, but they can have a very emotional release. So they can
Oh, yeah. Hmm.
burst into tears, which is sort of what you expect. But sometimes, and I've been working with somebody, it was actually a training course where we were all healers, and a lady that I was working with, I could feel the release coming, and I thought she was going to cry. But what actually happened, she just was laughing and she couldn't stop laughing. So it was just a wonderful release, but I'm very, you know, it's obviously happening because she was like, I can't really stop, and then and then she was laughing even harder because and it's full of, and also full of a room full of people, and she can't stop laughing in front of them, and so those sort of moments are very powerful and
Yeah.
great to be a part of. I so I
Yeah.
find that when I'm doing that healing in front of a room full of people, you everyone's energy, you try and get everyone. So I do a group meditation together, and it sort of syncs everyone together, and then that sort of everyone's
Mm.
energy gets lent to the healing as well,
Yeah.
which can produce quite amazing results.
Oh, yeah.
um
Well, I mean, and especially considering like I don't know if we said this before we hit record, but I think we both believe that everyone has psychic abilities. So when
yes,
you put
absolutely.
20 people into a room, it is very likely that they're contributing to the healing, just
Yes,
organically, just
and
as
it's
part of what's happening in that space.
and part of the process of tuning in and becoming at one with your own abilities, or going on an introspective journey and feeling peace. Part of that is your intention, and there's just a sort of, and your intention is invested with your belief in it. Now, when you've got a group of people together and they're all having that experience, and you get them all to meditate together, then you get them all synced. They're all their energy syncs up, so all of that
Mhm.
ability, and they can all feel it happening. They all feel
Oh
relaxed.
yeah,
They all feel, and then it's just well, it's a great experience. It's fun to do.
definitely. So, so you're a clairvoyant, a medium, and a healer, a Reiki
Yeah,
master. You mentioned so you started out as a healer without the Reiki, yeah?
yeah. Basically,
Yeah, I
I
did
would have.
too. I did too. I
Yeah,
started out doing energy healing without even knowing what I was doing, just sending love through my hands to someone and discovered Reiki almost 10 years later. Didn't know what Reiki was, but I was doing it anyway. So I think I was maybe a past life. I was a Reiki master or something. Just natural.
yes. I think it's
Yeah.
but I think everyone's got a natural ability. I think if you as natural as being a maternally loving mum, then
Yeah.
you will do everything to help your child. And if you want to heal them, you there's an energy that's going to pass through you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And if you think
Yeah.
about some of the natural things we do to comfort someone, you put your hand on their shoulder. Well, there's the shoulder chakras for responsibility. So you're literally, I feel spirit stepping in and doing that, but
Yeah.
that's what you do without any training, without any knowledge. We'll do that. You hold somebody's hand, so a chakra there. You'll put your hand on their
Yeah.
shoulder, or you'll put your hand around their shoulders. You're you're saying to them energetically, I'm helping you share the burden. And
Right,
when I'm healing, I feel that, and I just thought, oh, isn't that interesting? Because everyone's doing that anyway. So all of those things that we do innately, we do without realizing it. I think we were saying this beforehand. Is so many people are clairsentient or empathic. They feel what others feel, and that is. I'm constantly working with clients that are feeling what others feel and then trying to deal with that, and they think it's some sort of psychodrama that's going on in their head, which isn't real, when really it is real, and what they're feeling is a real thing. And then you're able to give
right,
them some clarity. So that gives them, it helps somebody to become more centered, because then they understand the feelings that they've been getting aren't all theirs. They're picking up on their environment. One of the biggest things I'm teaching clients and students is to close down. You don't have to be open. If you're psychic, you have psychic ability, then close down, and then you're not
right.
wasting your energy. And it's not
Hmm.
good for your mental health to be picking up on everyone
Agreed.
when you go to the supermarket, and then
Right.
just knowing what's going on with everyone. That's not good. Don't do that. That's not good.
Yeah,
It's
it's
nosy as well. But
as an untrained psychic, it would happen all the time. I would just pick up on everyone.
yeah,
I'd walk into a room and pick up all the energy, and I'd get overwhelmed and felt like it was a curse when I was
yeah,
a kid. And then, young adult, I thought, how could anybody survive this? It was terrible, but I didn't understand it at that point, and it really wasn't until I started opening the Akashic records that experience started to fade, because I could feel the energy of 7 billion people. And so now walking
right.
into a room of 30 is no big deal, because, well, I've been in
Yes.
that space, right? So it's perspective, I think.
Yeah, I had to, it took me a while to be able to stand in front of an audience and not and then understand my ability to pick up on everyone, because it took a
Yeah.
while. But on
Oh,
the flip side
sure.
of that, I I I've been in cinemas where it's a good film, not I mean I don't, not a horror film, but a good film where it's uplifting. So where the whole audience has a moment where they're all lifted, literally lifted emotionally, and I'll suddenly, if I'm in the right place, or just personally, I will feel that lift. So not only will I be getting it from the film, but I can feel the audience lift.
Yeah.
And that's the flip side. That's quite a positive experience.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah.
I
Well,
had
going
that.
to a concert where everyone is in love with, the performers, or, things like that,
Yes,
where
yeah,
the whole room, the whole space is in alignment with what they're experiencing. Definitely.
yeah,
I have a hard time at
yeah,
festivals where there's just too many things happening, because of all the different emotions
yeah.
that are
Because it can be
happening
a
in
bit.
those spaces.
I think, yeah, because also you've got all the various forms of being drunk, whatever they may be.
Yes,
But that's
exactly.
all that
Exactly.
energy is chaotic, isn't it? So it's
Yes.
not necessarily fun to be around. I mean, it
Right,
can
right.
be, but if you're not feeling it, then it's just like you want to get away from that.
Right.
Um, I
Which,
think
and I
I think
guess, I mean, the point of this conversation is really, I understand that there's a lot of people waking up to their abilities. There's a lot of people that
yeah,
are having new experiences, or new to them experiences,
yeah,
like the clairaudience, especially sentience. Absolutely. I come in contact with people that call themselves empaths, but don't know that that is clairsentience, and that
yeah, yeah, yeah,
correlation, right? But it's really, I think we give people permission for being more open, for being more clear, for having extrasensory perceptions, for
yes,
having these experiences, because our society does not give us permission to have these experiences.
yeah.
Generally speaking, this is kind of fringe conversation. It's things that we don't get in our education in our schooling. We don't get these experiences through our
No,
lifetimes. It's not really until we have the opportunity to see a psychic or go sit with a tarot reader or, have a Reiki session, then all of a sudden it opens you up and gives you something and it changes everything, really.
it does. And that's the chance to be able to, if somebody's going to come and see me for a reading online or in person, to be able to give them, open them up so that they see what's possible, but doing it in a way which is they have balance, they have equilibrium, they have a centered, I know where I'm going with this, but they have a better understanding of themselves when they leave, and also their connection to spirit. Then they just the horizons just opened up for them. Then they can go off and study in whatever direction they want to go. So even if it's once,
Sure.
but and then they come back and they learn with me. But that's great. But there's so many people that are coming to me with well, it's quite often skeptics come to me, and I didn't even realize they
Mm.
were skeptics because they're there. So I didn't. Why would I think they were skeptics? Because
Right.
I had a guy that came to see me actually, and he was determined not to say anything. I mean, I like to, well, like I'm doing now, really, monologuing at the beginning of a reading. So I'm doing half hour. I want to talk for 15 minutes without them saying anything so that they know it's all real and they've not given me anything. But he
Right.
was determined not to give me anything. So he said he would just go, he was going to go thumbs up or thumbs down. And that was all he was going to do. Anyway, long story short, I brought his dad through, and he's been back 3 times because it was all very, and his mum, but he was blown away because it. So basically, that was his first experience, and he wasn't sure if it was real, and then it's, oh right, this is real. Okay, then he's got lots of questions, and then I'm trying, guiding him as best I can, but giving him so much proof. That's the most important
Right.
thing. I had
Right.
another lady that came to see me, and as soon as she sat down, her husband came in. She'd just been talking about her children, and he came in to say, "Those are my kids. I'm her husband. Those are my kids." I mean, I was doing it through feeling his emotion because as she spoke about her son, I could feel him. That's my boy. And then so the first thing I said to her was, "I think I've got your husband." And then he gave loads of messages, and then afterwards she was very pleased with the messages. Anyway, afterwards she went away and she came back and she said, "I've got to tell you," she said, "that I was nearly not going to come for the reading because I just thought this is rubbish, it's not real." And then as soon as I sat down and you said that, I just suddenly thought, "Oh, this is real. I don't know if I can deal with this." Like this is way more than I was expecting. I thought there might be a hint of he's around, but it was like straight into he's here and he's talking about the kids. And she's like, so, whoa, I don't know, this is powerful. But then it was so cathartic for her. So
Yeah.
that was just to be able to have those moments. It's very rewarding to be able to do that.
Most definitely. Most definitely. So, I mean, I think that from an intuitive perspective, you mentioned that it really just started with your intuition and opening up to your abilities. And um, I loved what you said, feeling into the person. I think that is a lot of what I've done as well. I just feel into the person. I feel
Yeah,
their whatever it is in their chakra system, in their energy system. And a lot of what is on the outside, the easy information, I call it the
yeah,
low-hanging fruit. The
yeah.
easy information is what comes through first. Um, what do you think is the purpose of that easy information? Because normally it's
I think
something that they already know.
I think well, there's people to you people. psychologically and physically, they'll try and project, and they do it. Then they're doing it energetically. They're projecting, "This is who I am." But
Right,
that's I don't want to swear, but that's not who they are. That's who they want to present to the world. So
right.
I found it. That's why I started reading the chakras, because the chakras are reality. So I wouldn't, because I'm very sensitive. So I didn't want to. I didn't want the made up version, because that's, and then within that I think is the low hanging fruit. And then I was right straight to the chakras and then what's at the surface.
Yeah.
Okay, right, what you're worried about is, so I'm taking straight, so I'll go straight in a, oh, you got a daughter, straight to your daughter, or this is about your relationship, or this is because you lost, and then that's psychically, and then hopefully they're coming in. But the low hanging fruit now, because I do that way, is I think the low hanging fruit is just what's right at the surface, and you can pick those bits, but then they will lead you to other things. And also, I think
Deeper and deeper. Yeah.
the low hanging fruit is also, you should get those, because then it sort of gets them out of the way, because they need to be
Hmm.
acknowledged, and then the other stuff
Yes.
comes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so too. So, God, this conversation's been beautiful. Um, what do you think is what is this question? What do you think is the purpose of all of this healing? Because I think that as intuitives, as healers, we bring a lot of light with us. We bring a lot of light energy with us. Um, I've always felt that energy is kind of the reason I'm here. So the light
Mm.
energy is why I'm here. And I bring light, and it's like I'm a light for the world. So what is that? Can I monetize that? Is that a
I
thing I can
think,
do, right? Or is that just who I am
well,
as a person, right?
you can,
So,
yeah, I think well, if you take the chakras for a moment, just talk about energy and that
mhm,
light. Your heart chakra is unconditional love. That
right?
is essence of, that is what healing is, and that is flowing through all of us, because when we're in a good place, that energy flows through us, and our body's healing itself. Our body
Yes.
is replacing all the cells every 7 years, so we're in a constant state of flux. We're in a constant state of healing. Anything that gets in the way emotionally is energetically, then it gets blocked. So then
Mm,
if you meditate or whatever it is, walk the dog or whatever does it for you, then you're in a better state, and it clears. But then there's a light within all sorts of people. You can see that light within a 90-year-old that's had a good life, in a 4-year-old that's just a bundle of joy. And
yes.
so it's everywhere. It's a
Yes.
natural flow of energy. But so
Yeah.
that's how I see it. And I think we everyone has the ability to lift their vibration, get their own stuff out of the way, lift their vibration, be at peace, and just feel connected to everyone.
Hmm.
So saying that
Hmm.
out loud, if you're in a bad place, sounds twee and weak. But when you get there, it's a state of, oh, okay, I get it now. And then you're
Yes.
you're when you're in that place, you're glowing, you're in a place, you're happy, people want to be near you, and there's a
Right.
sense, all of that happens, and then you notice things falling into place when you lift your vibration. And you can be a hair's breadth from that and feel really bad because of life, the world's as it is, and stuff's
True.
happening. But you start lifting your
Right.
vibration, you will find light workers everywhere. You
Oh,
find
yeah.
somebody just smiling at everyone at the supermarket, or just somebody that's it's got nothing, but they're radiating a beauty that you just like. Well, they're nice to be around. They haven't got anything, but they're happy. And then you will see all of that. When you're in a negative place, you would just see, cars beeping their horn. You will see people arguing. That's what you will see, because that's where you are. So it's
Right.
all the good stuff's around you. You just lift your vibration, and then it pulls you out of that fog, that sort of depression, that sort of, negative cloud over your head, like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
light workers suffer. Light workers are get down. So everyone's the same, but it's very simple to do. It's
Hmm.
just you got to do it.
Yeah. It's I think
So
I call it energy hygiene. It's like
yeah,
you have to tap into yourself, recognize where your vibration is, where your emotion is at that moment, and do something about it. If you've got to clear your
yeah,
chakras, if you've
um,
got to lift your energy, maybe positive affirmations or meditation, or just envisioning more light around
yeah,
you. Like there's so many different practices to elevate and lift yourself
yeah,
that I think that, I mean, that is really the key to healing. That's a lot of what we've been talking about today, is that finding
yeah.
that
All about
clarity,
balance.
getting calm in the body, and then allowing the body to do the work it's supposed to do. We are
Yeah, fine.
self-healers, right?
Yes. Yeah, but that's it's, and I do a lot of work on helping people, teaching people to meditate and to sort of still their mind and to bring them to that sort of peace, begin to find that peace within themselves. From a mediumship point of view, if you can sit in stillness, then you basically begin to recognize your own energy, and
Hmm.
then you notice when someone else steps in. But if just general Joe public, just sitting in the stillness, and then there's a piece to that, and then you can just be, you're literally bringing energy back to yourself. You're not worrying about all this, you're pulling all that energy back, so you're centered, all of your energy comes back to you, and then you've got
Hmm.
more brain power, more focus, more of you in the moment to work with. And
Yeah.
then then that's a step by step. But once you're there, like, okay, now how do you feel? And everyone's different, so there's no prescription that works perfectly for everyone. It's their own journey, finding their way. That's something I've always said, which is really important, is when you're healing, there's no right and wrong way. There's just your way. You're healing your stuff. You're going through your journey. You find your way, and that,
Yeah.
don't look at anyone else. You just do your own thing. And that's
Yeah.
that's really important, because people worry about, am I doing this right? Have I done enough? You know.
Right. Oh, Stephen. Okay, we've covered a lot. Is there anything that we didn't cover yet? Um,
Um,
I wrote a bunch of notes down before we started to
okay.
hit record. You mentioned when you were 7 years old, you
Right. Okay.
met Mother
How I
Mary. We can talk about that.
Yeah. Okay. So I didn't. So I had an experience that wasn't very nice, and I wasn't being believed. So I wasn't in a particularly good place, age 7, and I got left on my own in a house, and I was quite convinced that somebody would come and tell me it was all right. I was certain, absolutely certain, that somebody would come and tell me. Then I began to realize no one was coming. Then I got upset, and then
Oh,
this spirit, then this spirit. I was in a place. I was upset, and this spirit. So all I knew was it was a spirit, but it was a female presence, and she came towards me. Now, as she's got to my energy field, as she merged with my energy field, my aura, whatever you want to call it, I went from upset, very upset, to at peace. And then she started to
yeah.
explain the situation to me. She started to explain, well, my parents weren't going to listen. They didn't understand the situation. And I got annoyed. I disagreed with her because I was 7. I thought, no, they will come back. They will believe me. They will. And then she was like, no, they won't. And then she's lifting my vibration so that I could see things playing out. So she calmed
Hmm.
me, lifted my vibration. Then I argued. Then she lifted my vibration again, and then I saw things playing out. Now, at the time, I wouldn't have said, "Oh, this is Mother Mary," because I wouldn't have known that. But what she did
Right.
was she was just maternal energy personified. She just felt, she was a woman, and she felt I felt like this was somebody's mother, but it was just that was all I
Mm.
felt, and she was lifting my vibration and healing me. So it was spiritual healing, and I was being cleansed and explained to, and then giving me an idea of when I would, how things were going to play out. So she was giving me future stuff as well. And so
Hmm.
my first experience of working with a spirit, well, properly like that, was it was a healing spirit. So I was convinced and confident that healing spirit would always come and help. And
Mm.
that was my experience age 7. And then I'm using that, something that I just feel natural with, of bringing that same level of peace and balance to somebody that is could be in a similar state of distress or
Sure.
tension from any number of causes emotionally. And so that's my bag. That's what that's where I'm focused. But then I've got into the healing side of physical healing, energetic healing. So when I'm healing, I can feel healing, which is physical, when I can actually feel cramp coming. When I'm pulling the energy off somebody physically, I can have cramp.
Mm.
That's how I know. The first time it happened, I volunteered to help a guy that had snapped 2 tendons in his shoulder, and I was
Hmm.
healing his shoulder, and I felt this cramp coming up my arm, and first time it had happened. It is 19 years ago, and I was thinking that really hurts. But then I was thinking, I know I'm pulling the energy off of him. Anyway, he got home and he phoned me and he said his doctor had said, "Look, I don't know what you've done, but this is amazing. You're so much better." And so he gave me a review, but
Nice.
that was the first time I experienced it. I have experienced it since. So that's physical healing. Then there's energetic healing, which is the mind body connection. Stress goes into
Mm.
energy and lay down in the chakras
Yes.
depending on what it's to do with. And then
Right.
there's energetic, and then there's just emotional healing. Like literally, I just focus on the emotion, and it will be laid down in the chakras accordingly. And I mean,
Mm.
somebody's come to me, they're in a certain state. Because I'm clairsentient, I can feel it, and then I'm healing that throughout the energy field, chakras, whatever. But then they just go into a very, very, very deep place. And then when I'm bringing them back, I'm literally bringing them back. So I'm trying to get them back to their body so that they're like I hold their feet at the end to bring them back. And
Yep.
then they're just in this,
Yep.
and then they're in this state of such calm that you really like I've had to delay the next session so that they're fit to drive, having gone so into a deep, it's like they've gone into trance basically, and they
Sure.
come back.
Yeah.
They're so
I've
at
had
peace.
healers hand me a piece of chocolate. I think that's interesting, but I think it really does work.
Yeah.
It brings people back to their body. The flavor of the chocolate does something. The maybe
Oh
even a
right.
little bit of caffeine in the chocolate does something, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. I've never done that, but I've had several healers do that.
Um, and the other thing that I've sort of touched upon is I work with animals, so I work with animal communication. My partner now, I actually did a reading for her sort of 8 years ago. That's how we met, and but she, it was all animals, so basically animal spirit. So I
Yeah.
work with I work with clairsentience, which is you feel what they feel, and then that's
Hmm.
when your clairsentience is firing on all cylinders, it moves into claircognizance, where you arrive at fully formed conclusions without the information to get there. Now, and
Right.
that's very helpful when you're working with animals. And so there's been quite a few readings where they're just so pet focused. It's all pets. So when they
Mm.
come through. I had one. She's on my circle now, actually. But she was this big dog. He's a massive. He was a German Shepherd, so Alsatian German Shepherd, and he's going with his paw. He's sort of putting it on the floor, but he kept putting it on the floor, and I kept thinking, what's he doing? And then he kept showing me his foot, and then I was looking at his foot, and then I was thinking, oh yeah, it's enormous. So I was saying he's got
Ah,
big feet, he's got massive feet. And the lady had been talking to us. This lady reading for two. They've been talking about that morning, that
Ah,
he had such like they called him Bear because he had like these bare paws.
nice.
So yeah, but working with animals, that's very interesting. So I've learned a lot. I've learned more about animals doing that. I think that's that.
Hmm.
Whereas I wasn't expecting to be doing that because I was raised on a farm, so had lots of animals that we were close to, but also animals were animals on a farm. So to have that
Right.
experience after, having been through that, it's just wasn't expecting it, but it's part of what I do. So and I do a lot of animal
Yeah.
healing as well. I've done a lot of cats and dogs and equine as well, working with horses.
Hmm.
So that's fun.
Beautiful. So you've mentioned your circles. Uh, what about
Yeah.
teaching? So how do you incorporate teaching into your work?
I do online circles and I do groups. I do all sorts of workshops in the UK, and I'm doing more online. And I do presentations. I do just demonstrations as well. That's a good way of
Mm.
bringing clients to me. Um, so I can heal in front of an audience and teach at the same time. So I can
Mm-hmm.
multitask. So I can heal. I was doing it on Thursday last week, and so I was talking to the audience about what I do and talking about the mediumship more than the healing that I was doing. But as I was healing, I was talking about the fact that I could pick things up, and then I was relaying to the audience what I was with just checking with them first, but basically relaying what bits of what they were getting, what I was feeling. I said, "Oh, it's just moved down your sacral chakra," and they were like, "Yes, that's right, to your tummy." And the third one, as I was talking, she's having a big release, and she got tearful. But this was a great demonstration. I got like 6 bookings, and quite a few people are going to sort of join one of my workshops and come along
Hmm.
to that and learn how to do it. So you
Yeah.
take people from the starting point through to the more advanced side.
Yeah.
So yeah, just
That's awesome.
incorporating all the different
Yeah.
aspects.
Okay. My goodness, we've covered a lot. Now, is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you'd like to highlight?
Um, I think I'm going to be doing some more lives. I've got a private group on Facebook. People can join that, and they don't have to pay anything. They can just experience little bits of what I'm doing there. They can come and join me, and then see what I do. I'm going to do some stuff on TikTok just to show what I do. So that'd be a different audience. So I'll be doing stuff on TikTok, so you're able to catch me there. So I'm just building, and I'll incorporate some of what I teach on those lives to sort of it gives people an understanding. But I always wrap it around. It's going to be guided by the people that I'm talking to, helping them, give
Yes.
them a little bit. So I always interact with people. And as I've been describing, you work with individual cases, and people will all learn from that as well. And so
Oh, yeah.
I do sort of a lot of Zoom teaching sessions with groups. Yeah,
Nice.
I should say that.
Okay. Okay. So how can people find you? How can they reach you?
If they just healingreadings.co.uk, that's my website, or
Okay.
they look up Stephen with a PHP Rose on Google, they'll find me, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show up because I've got quite a few reviews on there. So
Excellent.
yeah, my
Now we will
website.
include all of your links in the
Okay.
description so you all can find those when you watch this video. And well, my last question of the day is, would you like to share some inspiration for our community, for our
I
audience?
had yeah, I think something that when I was first guided to do this work, and I was just thinking from my own perspective, you find out you are much more than you know. So there's more to you than you realize. So as you step into this as you open up, as you go on introspective journeys, as you start to sort of explore your spiritual nature and your own gifts, and you will have gifts and more than you think you have. There's just more to you than you realize.
Mm,
And that's
beautiful.
it. It's quite simple.
Yeah, lovely. Awesome. Well, thank you, Stephen. This has been an amazing conversation. I can't wait to share it.
Good. Yes, me too.
Yeah, beautiful.
Okay.
Have an awesome day.
Thank you. Okay, you too. Thank you. All right. Bye bye.